Chapter 21. Mr. Gardiner goes to London. They travelled as quickly as possible, and having slept one night on the way, reached Longbourn by dinner time the next day. The little Gardiners, attracted by the sight of the carriage, were standing on the steps of the house, and the joyful surprise that lit up their faces was the travellers' first welcome. Elizabeth jumped out, gave each of them a quick kiss, and hurried into the hall, where Jane, who came running downstairs from the mother's room, met her immediately. As Elizabeth greeted her warmly, tears filled the eyes of both sisters. The younger, though, did not lose a moment before asking whether anything had been heard of the missing pair. "Not yet," replied Jane. "Is our father in town?" "Yes, he went on Tuesday." "And have you heard from him often?" "Only once, to say that he had arrived and to give me his address. He only added that he would not write again until he had something important to mention." "And the mother? How is she?" "Fairly well, though her nerves are troubling her a great deal, and she is still in bed. Mary and Kitty, thank heaven, are quite well." But you, how are you?" cried Elizabeth. "You look pale. How much you must have suffered." Her sister told her that she was perfectly well, and the conversation, which had been continued while Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner were with their children, was now ended by the approach of the whole party. Mrs. Bennet, to whose room they all went, received them exactly as might be expected, with tears and expressions of sadness, angry words against Wickham, and complaints of her own sufferings. She blamed everybody but the person who, by bringing up her daughter so carelessly, was chiefly responsible for her faults. "If I had been able," she said, "to go to Brighton with all my family, this would never have happened. But poor dear Lydia had no one to look after her. Poor dear child! And now here's Mr. Bennet gone away, and I know he'll fight Wickham, and then he'll be killed, and what will become of us all? The Collinses will turn us out before he is cold in his grave, and if you are not kind to us, brother, I do not know what we shall do." They all comforted her against such terrible ideas, and Mr. Gardiner told her that he would go directly to London and give Mr. Bennet every help in his search. Oh, my dear brother," replied Mrs. Bennet, "that is exactly what I could most wish for. And now do, when you get to town, find them, wherever they may be, and if they are not already married, make them marry. And as for clothes for the wedding, do not let them wait for that, but tell Lydia that she shall have as much money as she chooses to buy them after they are married. And above all things, keep Mr. Bennet from fighting. Tell him what a terrible state I am in, that I am frightened to death, and have such tremblings all over me, and such pains in my head, and such beatings of my heart, that I can get no rest by night or by day. And tell my dear Lydia not to give any orders about her clothes until she has seen me, because she does not know the best shops. Oh, brother, how kind are you! I know that you will manage everything." Mr. Gardiner could not avoid advising her not to be extreme in her hopes as well as her fears, and the conversation continued in this manner until dinner was on the table and they left her to the attentions of the housekeeper. Although Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner were sure that there was no real necessity for her to stay in bed, they did not attempt to oppose her desire, because they knew that she had not enough good sense to keep quiet while the servants were around, and they were joined by Mary and Kitty, who had been too busy in their separate rooms to make their appearance before. The one came from her books, the other from the business of dressing herself, and they were both fairly calm, and no change was noticeable in either, except that the loss of her favorite sister, or the anger which she herself had had to bear in the matter, had made Kitty more complaining than usual. In the afternoon, the two older Mrs. Bennet were able to have half an hour by themselves in serious talk. Elizabeth learned that Wickham's bad character had begun to be known. Colonel Forster believed him to be a callous and wasteful spender, and it was now said that he had left Meryton greatly in debt. "Oh, Jane, if we had been less secretive, if we had told what we knew of them, this could not have happened. We acted with the best intentions." And Jane then showed Elizabeth Lydia's letter to Mrs. Forster, which the Colonel had brought with him, and this is what it contained. "My dear Harriet, you will laugh when you know where I have gone, and I cannot help laughing myself at your surprise tomorrow morning. As soon as I am missed, I am going to Gretna Green, and if you cannot guess with whom, I shall think you very stupid, because there is only one man in the world that I love, and he is perfect. I could never be happy without him, so I think it will do no harm to run away with him. You need not tell them at Longbourn if you do not want to, because it will make the surprise much greater when I write to them and sign my name Lydia Wickham. What a good joke it will be. Please make my excuses to Pratt for not keeping my promise to dance with him tonight. I shall send for my clothes when I get to Longbourn, but I wish you would tell the servant to mend a great hole in my blue dress before it is packed. Goodbye. Give my love to Colonel Forster. I hope that you will drink to our good journey. Your loving friend, Lydia Bennet." "Oh, thoughtless, thoughtless Lydia!" cried Elizabeth when she had finished reading. "What a letter this is to be written at such a moment! But at least it shows that she was serious in the object of her journey. Ah, my poor father! How he must have felt! I never saw anyone so shocked. He could not speak a word for fully 10 minutes. Our mother was taken ill immediately, and the whole house was in confusion." "Oh, Jane!" cried Elizabeth. "Was there one servant belonging to us who did not know the whole story before the end of the day?" "I don't know. I hope so, but it is very difficult to be careful at such a time. You do not look well. You have had every care and anxiety to bear by yourself. Mary and Kitty have been very kind, and would have shared every duty, I'm sure, but Kitty is thin and delicate, and Mary studies so much that she should not be interrupted during her hours of rest. Our Aunt Phillips came to us after our father had gone away, and was of great use and comfort. And Lady Lucas has been very kind, and walked over here to offer her sympathy and help." "It would have been better if she had stayed at home," cried Elizabeth. "Perhaps she meant well, but in a time of such a misfortune as this, one cannot see too little of one's neighbours."